Greetings, everyone. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you join us. You could be anywhere, and the fact that you chose to spend this time with us, we just want to honor and appreciate that. And you already know I got an amazing guest. She goes by the name of Francesca Escoto. How's it going?
It's going well, Tom. Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, it's an honor. And, you know, we have history. We go back.
Yes.
So let me just introduce you a little bit to the folks who don't have the benefit of having known you for the past 5-6 years. So Francesca is an engineer by trade, a self-taught web developer, and a fan of Marvel superheroes. Snap it up for all those out there. She became a certified professional coach, in part looking for answers to her own questions about how to navigate life and move past pain and suffering. She wrote her Kindle bestseller. Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
It's called...
You were at my book launch in Los Angeles, remember?
I was there. I remember that. The book is called Divorce Your Drama and has been helping people break up with their past since then. She also coaches entrepreneurs who are using technology for social good. Raising her 3 daughters, salsa dancing, working out, and writing take up all her time. Her main goal in life is to know God and to allow him to make her life purposeful. I mean, I love that. So if you're looking for clarity in your life, if you're an entrepreneur trying to use your gifts and talents to make the world a better place, if you're just a fan of awesome, badass women, then this is the episode for you. How did I do? How was that as an introduction?
I think you're amazing. So, yes.
I appreciate that. What did I miss? How would you introduce yourself?
No, I think that was pretty much it. I think that it kind of, you know, when introductions are done, unless you could show pictures of me in different situations, you miss the fact that I'm kind of quirky, and I think I have a great sense of humor because I laugh at my own jokes.
Yes.
I think that you would miss that I'm also really warm. I don't know. People have that impression. I think, see, it's funny because my internal dialogue, I think, is kind of bitchy, but other people think I'm really warm and nice. So it's always nice to get that feedback.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but I think you have to just kind of be in the same space with me to get my vibe.
And that's what we're doing today. We're inviting people into that space.
Yes.
Tell me, how do we know each other? How did we first meet?
So we were introduced by a common friend because I was running my first group coaching program years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Yeah.
Yep.
Been 6. And I was looking for entrepreneurs that were trying to change the world through their work. And someone said, I know a guy. And that was Tom, and your work was definitely the kind of work that I was hoping to be a part of. So I was like, please bring him in. They were like, he's not a girl. Okay, he's a he. And, you know, he's not Latino. Okay. But you fit perfectly. And one of the things that I told you since then, and I continue to believe that, is that you are one of those people that embodies their brand. When I first met you, you were the white dude who is Muslim who had dreads, who is a feminist. Yes. And it is so who you are. And I could see it and I could experience it. And being in a room with you, I could feel it. So it's still true, Tom. And I love that about you.
I appreciate that. And, you know, I've had a lot of great mentors in my life, but you were definitely my first person who, you know, intentionally was a coach. Yes. And it was amazing. It was at a time of my life right when I was transitioning out of AmeriCorps and moving into being an entrepreneur, a full-time artist, and moving to LA. Yeah. So it gave me so much clarity, and that's why I wanted to, now that you're launching your new program, invite people in to take advantage of this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for being part of my journey also. I think that one of the things I love about coaching is that I get to be part of someone's life, even if for a moment. You know, I get to walk with them holding hands. I don't necessarily see myself as the guru. Yeah. So I'm a Christian. Yeah. And one of the things that I love about my faith is the role of the Holy Spirit, who walks with you, is your counselor, is your consoler, if that's a word, consolation. It's just present. And that presence, I think, is so important. So when I'm coaching people, I feel like it's my way of loving them back the way I've been loved, so I get to just be with. So yeah, and in that process, I develop friendships. I get to, it's not so much like a mother watching her kids grow. It's more like, look what my brother did.
That's awesome.
They're so cool. These people are so cool. And I got to grow up with them a little bit here and there. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, for the people listening that are like, my perception of a life coach is like rich, white, privileged, people who sip lattes in gentrified neighborhoods and have all this extra time and money on their hands.
I will walk with you. So you see, so this is my apartment.
Okay.
It might seem, like all those things you said, but I will show you the truth.
Okay, let's do it.
So here are a pile of dirty socks that I have not gotten to, and I probably won't. They've been there for more than a week. I'm being honest. And here are my dishes.
This is behind the scenes.
Yes, this is like for real. And they're not all in the sink because some are still on the stove. So my life is quite real. I think my bathroom is a mess, so I can show you that too. There's stuff all over.
Yes.
My daughters, there might be some clothes. It's a little embarrassing, so I won't dwell here too long.
That's amazing.
The apartment is beautiful, but I can't take credit for that because I wasn't the architect.
Okay.
What I have done with it, unfortunately, it does not live up to it. And thank you for asking that question because, and we kind of touched on this earlier, I do feel the privilege of the life I'm living.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it and I use it for good, but there is a level, there is a sense of arrival for me.
Yeah.
And I am sort of in this pinnacle, and I do not make millions. I don't, my salary or my income, whatever word we want to use, is not $150,000 a year.
Yeah.
It's close to, but it's not that number.
Yeah.
And I say that because I don't even, I coach entrepreneurs, right? That's part of what we just said. And a lot of them are technical by nature, either engineers, software developers, whatever. And I tell them, I'm not here to help you make millions.
Yeah.
If your goal is to become a millionaire, there are other coaches that are great for that. That's not what I'm here for. I am a lot more content with the right lifestyle. We're doing work worth doing. And you probably heard that 6 years ago.
Yeah.
For me, work worth doing is way more important than the money that you make when you're doing that work.
Yeah.
And allow me to go in a little soapbox moments, but I grew up in the Dominican Republic, and political corruption is huge, and people steal, or I should say leaders steal from the people.
Yeah.
Left and right. And I remember being there at one point. It had been 7 years since I had gone back to the island. And when I went, I didn't even recognize my own neighborhood. Everything had been, talk about gentrification, right? Like I didn't even recognize the street. I was lost in the neighborhood I grew up in. And the buildings are beautiful, the most expensive cars ever, house after house. Everybody has like we call them watchmen. They're like security guards, armed and the whole thing. But the streets were full of potholes. So people couldn't drive those cars in the street. And for me, it was this realization, this moment that all the wealth they had, which in some cases, and I know I'm being, generalist or maybe even cynical about it, but I'm thinking like, here you are, who knows how you made your money? You can't even enjoy it. You can't take your car out for a ride because you'll ruin it because you probably stole the money that was needed to fix the street you live on, And so I am super conscious of wealth inequality in the world.
Yeah.
And getting rich is really not the thing I'm rooting for or going for. So I ain't white. I'm not a guy. I'm not planning to be a millionaire. I feel wealthy because I have everything I need, and I have the luxury of time. And so long as I have time to dedicate to my children and to the work that I do, I feel like I am beyond privileged.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, time, happiness, joy, fulfillment, those are the greatest assets anybody can ask for.
Absolutely. Yes.
So if that's what coaching is not, then what is coaching?
So coaching is about accountability and helping people stick to what they said they were going to do. It has its own methodology. So if you think of healing trauma as the role of a licensed mental health counselor,
yes,
the future accomplishment and creating the future is the role of the life coach. Excuse me. So that's where I come in. And that's why I'm saying I walk with you, because we're doing magic together. We're creating shit that don't exist right now. So it's, in that process, there's a lot that happens. There is uncovering things from the past, but we don't stay there. We only look there, to move forward.
That's amazing. I appreciate that explanation and, expanding upon what a coach can do.
Yeah.
One of the most popular podcast episodes I have was on choosing peace over control. And a lot of people resonated with that message. And, a lot of my learning about that comes from people like you. Would you mind elaborating on, where you see control and happiness?
Sure. Yeah. I am learning a lot more about control right now. I think control is one of those things that it's layers, right? It's the onion, the peeling, and at the core, we're afraid. At the core, we're afraid of what happens when we're not in control. We're afraid of the fact that we're not in control.
Yes.
When you think about the fact, and so here is a way in which I'm different from other coaches. I'm not crazy about the law of attraction or manifestation. Not because those concepts are not true. Yeah. But because they can be misunderstood to mean that somehow I can control all the variables just with positive thinking. And in a world that is interconnected and interdependent, some stuff that I don't like will happen. Yep. I wish I could control tsunamis and hurricanes and tornadoes, but that's just simply not true. Yeah. Maybe there is a collective consciousness, and maybe if we all got on the same wavelength somehow, blah, blah, blah. But I haven't seen it happen. Yeah. And I've seen people pray for rain, and I've seen people pray for sunshine, and somebody is gonna get what they want that day, but not both at the same time. That's a great point. And so there is something beautiful, and it is part of my faith, but I think people who don't share my faith can still find at least moments of this. There is a place of surrender and allowing yourself to be in the mystery. The mystery of the future, the mystery of how is this going to work out? And all you do is your part. And then you rest. Like during the day, you go to work, you come home, and then at some point you go to sleep. At some point you have to go to sleep. If you don't, you crash, right? So if we could do that emotionally as well, if we could do, the eternal weight loss journey that we're not going to talk about today. 30 to go. That's all I'm going to say. Yes. But all I can do is my workout and my meal plan. There is nothing else to be done. If I think about it some more, if I meditate on the whatever, like none of those things are going to necessarily bring about the result. They might help me along the way. They might help me stay on course, but they're not the things that are going to change reality necessarily. Action changes reality. And at the end of the day, I can go to sleep and rest because I know I did all I could. when we think that we can control all the variables, we actually take the place of God. And we start playing a role that is not ours. And we get stressed out, we get heart problems, we get, and we become annoying people because we think we can control others too. We think, well, maybe I can make him fall in love with me. Maybe I can make this client sign up with me. Maybe I can, no, you don't have that power over others, and certainly not over the weather or other inconveniences in life, So surrendering that has been freeing, because then I have a whole lot of time to focus on the things that I can control.
Where does that come from, our desire to want to control everything?
Well, I think it comes from two places, and I think that we are good and bad, right? So the part of us that is God-like experiences there is a part of us that is God-like and can experience some level of control. We're not completely powerless. So there is legitimacy in that. It's just we want to control things that we can't, right? That part goes into the other side, which is our fear. If I can't control it all, I can't control the outcome. And when we become so result-oriented, we forget to live, right? If life is a formula with an equal sign at the end. Remember, I'm a technical person.
Yes, we like technical. Break it down. Let's have a formula.
Or logical or something. So if life is a formula and somehow has to equal something at the end, we become more concerned about that result than we become about the process. And in living is where the magic happens. So it's in the relationships that we have. It's in loving other people. It's getting to know God. It's becoming a force for good and investing ourselves in the changes that we want to see in the world. That's where the control really is. And miracles do happen. And we are miracle workers. And we can do a whole lot of magic when we are in that space. When we try to control the other pieces out of fear that it won't work out the way we want it to be, we end up actually causing pain for ourselves and for other people. Did that answer the question? I feel like I maybe went around it.
No, you did great. It was great.
Okay.
What role does, or what relationship does clarity have to all of this? Our need to control, like I said, it's based on the two sides, right? One is the fear of not getting what we want. But then the other side is a legitimate need to bring about something in our lifetime. And clarity is all about figuring out what that is. When you are on purpose, doing the things that you were created to do, you flow. You don't have time to worry about the things that you can't control. Because doing what you were meant to do is so fulfilling. There's just no time for anything else. Of course, we find ways to sabotage our own success. And so we kind of, do this and look the other way. And we need to get back on track. And that's where coaching is helpful, but also the right friends and the right people in your life. But clarity is about knowing what that purpose is and becoming focused on making that happen and exercising your control and your power in those areas. And how does one start to take the journey of 1,000 steps with one step towards clarity? What can somebody do if they're like, okay, I follow, I want to take the first step. How does somebody do that?
There are many ways, and I'm not being facetious about that. I don't want to sound like everybody needs a coach.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that. I do think coaching is a perfect first step. Someone that can walk with you and start that journey. But I think the first step, even if you were working with a coach, at least how I get my clients started, is really understanding your gut reaction to where you are today. When I get people to be honest about where they are, naturally and immediately, they know intuitively, they know what they should be doing that they aren't doing.
Is there a story you can share, or even a question you can ask me as a demonstration, or something that we could model for people? Somebody who went from fog to clear.
Well, I can share. It's a very small shift, but I'm going to share it because I think it demonstrates what we're saying. I had a client. She is in a career transition moment. She feels like she knows where she needs to be, and she just doesn't know. She's afraid, right? So that transition is scary, and she doesn't know how to navigate new waters. And she was focused on creating a new network. Okay. And surrounding herself with the right people, being at the right place. That's what she wanted to do. Okay, great. So we're working through, okay, where do you need to be? And what are some of the things that you need to be looking at? What are your career goals around this? And so we were doing some work around this. She was just stuck on this thing. You know what? I just don't know how to engage in conversation. When people tell me they don't know how to talk and they're talking to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, well, this doesn't make sense. You know, there's obviously a blockage somewhere. It's not flowing. What's going on? And so we keep talking about this. Eventually, I would say like 3 sessions into our coaching relationship, she says, well, you know, so-and-so is so good at working the room. And so it just, I don't know where it came. You know, some people say it's like a download from Jesus. But I'm like, you're an introvert. It's who you are. So the first thing is to be honest about who you are.
Yes.
Is that who you are? And the second thing is she's an extrovert and you're trying to do things the way other people would do it. Oof. So let's focus on who you are and what feels right for you. And how would you create a network of people where you are working on your strengths, coming from those places that you can control? She's like, well, you know, I don't know how, because if we're in a conversation and it's 5 people, they dominate the conversation. I don't even know of what to say until the conversation's over. Okay, so say nothing until the conversation is over. But what do you mean? You tell me, what does this mean? And so she goes through this whole process. She's like, oh my goodness, the best conversations I've ever had have been one-on-one. Yes, they have been. Let's do more of that. And it just completely changed. The fear went away. So that's the first thing, right? So now she's not so anxious about how to create this network because she knows how. It's just she was trying to do it like other people do it. And then she was actually motivated because it was an opportunity for her to be herself, to do things in ways that were actually enjoyable. Yeah. And it just I mean, we were scheduled to be working together for 3 months. We only needed the 1 month. Wow. Because that solved everything. She's like, that's it. That's all I needed. So she's on her way, you know, to doing what she needs to do. And that's an example of that's a small shift. But just like that, that's what clarity brings to you. So.
Wow, that's powerful. I mean, even myself hearing it, that it's true. We so often want to be somebody else and have somebody else's set of strengths. Yeah. When we have a perfect combination of ones to serve our purpose. Yeah. You just got to get in it, you know?
That's right. Amazing. That's right.
So my understanding is that you also work specifically with women and to not just solely, but to empower women, especially women of color. Can you speak a little bit about that mission?
Yeah. You know, it wasn't even a mission, honestly. I think it's the result of my book. So when I wrote my book, I was pregnant with a lot of emotions. Yes. I poured them all into that book, and I really focused on writing all the things I wish had been told to me as a Latina. Culturally, you know, talking about stereotypes and who the woman is supposed to be, but also even within the family structure, and allowing myself and giving myself permission to create a different role for myself in my family and in life in general. So after writing that book, people, you know, that's who I attract. I have a lot of women that come to me and they're like, oh my God, that is my story. Did you know my mom? Like, no, but I have one. I am one, you know, I know my grandmother real well. So there's been this sisterhood thing that has happened. And so the work that ends up happening with women of color primarily tends to be around that. And it pulls in the clarity thing. I just became that voice for myself that gave myself permission to be who I need to be. So I'm like the shaved side, funky hair.
Yes.
Dishes dirty while I'm doing an interview because this is more important to me, right? And so allowing myself to be in that place, I think there are women who need that permission in their lives too, and they don't know how to go about to do that. And one phrase, and you might remember it from our group, but it's something that I say all the time, and it always helps someone, so I share it here too. But fear is just an opportunity to be courageous.
Ooh, can you run that back one more time?
Sure. Fear is an opportunity to be courageous.
Wow.
See, you can't exercise courage unless you're scared. If you're not scared, you're not being brave.
Yeah.
Right? So I think a lot of these women just struggle with that. They're waiting for the fear to go away. They're waiting for the trigger to not exist. They're waiting for their mom to say the right things so they can move forward.
Yes.
And I think what I am able to do just from my own experience is be able to walk with these women and hold that space of permission for them to become who they were created to be.
That's amazing. And, our listeners are well attuned to, we talk about with our guests. For instance, our last guest was Shelby Birch, and she talked a lot about, white supremacist capitalist patriarchy and the specific, targets of oppression that women of color face.
That's right.
So we hear a lot about, the issues and then amazing women modeling leadership. But we don't a lot of time get to hear like some specific leadership tools, or you were saying permissions that are given. Would you mind elaborating, or what are some specific tools or leadership skills?
Sure. So one of the tools, and I'll be sharing some nuggets here, so y'all take some paper and pencils out. One of the tools that I use is flag, those are the 4 emotions. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's see, how do I structure this without busting out the flip chart? So there are different things that keep us from moving forward.
Yeah.
One of those is limiting beliefs. Okay. And limiting beliefs are external to us. That's where that oppressive system or systematic injustice comes into play. Yeah. They are either laws, right? Like very tangible barriers, or they could be more racism, which can be institutional, or it could be legalized, but it can also be just an atmosphere, an attitude, Trump-ish.
Yes.
So there's that, the limiting belief. But how we internalize that then eventually works its way up all the way to being a gremlin, which is our own voice speaking it as truth. Yes. Sometimes we can recognize the injustice outside and we can fight the system, right? We can fight it out there.
Yeah.
The real battle is won internally when we don't make it true, when we don't believe it as true inside. And what happens in our communities is that even those who are oppressed internalize their role. Yeah. They start to believe it, the whole concept of self-fulfilling prophecy. A lot of those things start to play out because we internalize it, because we believe it. So the work of the coach is to help you distinguish between the voice of truth and the lie, and to sort and sift those things, and to then be able to hold on to your truth long enough to impact your action and your behavior. See, what we think impacts our feelings, which impacts our actions. And so if you believe something to be true at its core, yes, it will definitely trickle down into how you act. So I can't change the world, but I can change a person's internal world. Well, I can't, but you can change your own world by believing God's truth instead of the lies of the world. So that's
amazing. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
And You know, a lot of times when I listen to coaches or people who are like the most famous out there in this world, you rarely get to hear them connect the systemic with, you know, coaching and with.
And you know, I think it's because of this whole laws of attraction and manifestation. If we as a community really could have all the control that, you know, we're told you can have, you know, manifesting whatever, Trump wouldn't be president.
Yeah.
You know, so don't put it on me that somehow I didn't pray enough or I didn't meditate enough or I'm not elevated enough, because now you're being an asshole again, you know, like it's how can I carry the weight of all the bad things that happen in the world? You know, that's too much. So allow me to be an individual in a world that is both awesome and messed up. Right. And so allow me to choose from goodness and mess up. I mean, allow me to make choices, but don't put the burden on me that, you know, the world is a mess because I am looking at the mess. I mean, it feels like it's too simplistic.
Exactly.
I'd rather live in a world that is both, and I'm always at choice.
I love that. Tell us a little bit about the program that you're launching.
So I am at a point where I want to bring more people into this conversation that we're having right now.
Yes.
So, and I'm honestly, I'll tell you how it happened. I had gone to bed, even after this whole Trump election. I was like, I'm at choice.
Yes.
I want to be part of the awesome. Yes. And I want to contribute in that way. I can't take him down. There's a lot of things I can't do single-handedly, right? But what I can do, what is within my control, is to offer what I have. So how can I put my tools to work? And for me, it was really about life is an awesome journey. And I know that to be true. It feels so true for me. And I kept thinking, you know, I went to bed with that, praying like, God, how do I exponentially bring this into the world? You know, how do I make it bigger? And I woke up at 4 a.m. with all this burst of energy, like just like this. And I pulled up my computer and my awesome life journey. That's the program. And it is an opportunity to dive in together, precisely to work on clarity, to sift out the lies and the truth, and to build a life around those core truths that define you. So for a lot of women in particular, that's really hard to do because of all the voices, all, you know, the grandmas, the moms, the aunts, the sisters, the commercials on TV, you know, whatever else. But for men too. I mean, women are not the only ones that struggle with this, especially when we hit, you know, late 30s, 40s. You're like, okay, I'm not 20 anymore. I'm not trying to fit in. I'm not trying to figure this out. I'm not 30, you know, whatever that means to a lot of people. For me, being in my 40s is, well, 40, not 45 yet. But as I start my 40s, I feel like I got this.
Yes.
I figured out a bunch of stuff. I know what not to do. I'm working on that. I still make mistakes of all kinds, but I feel like there's enough lessons learned, right? So from this new place, what does life bring about? From this place of calm, and I'm not in a rush anymore. I do know that life is going to end, you know, in this form somehow. And so being ready for that, but not necessarily rushing. You know, I'm not my grandmother who unfortunately, you know, agonizing through some things right now. So I'm not there, although I could be there in a minute. And I understand that cognitively, right? But being in that space of I got time, but I also have enough experience, and I'm enough. It's enough. Yes. And there's enough BS and it's enough, you know, like it's that sense of enough. So this program is about, where do we go from here? How do you, if you're there and you're 25, you're in the right place. It's not about the age. It's really about the feeling. And it's about having reached a certain point where you're done with the BS and you are ready to make things happen. You're ready to create a life that is meaningful, is purposeful, and it's impactful.
What's like your website or social media where people can reach out to you? And we'll include the exact link in our show notes.
Okay. It is francescaescoto.com.
Okay. Perfect.
And yeah. So that's where you want to go. And that will most likely redirect, by the time that you share this, it will redirect to the Eventbrite so that people can go there directly and I don't have to confuse anybody.
Okay. And show notes. And so, usually people set aside about an hour to listen to the interviews I do. Mm-hmm. We're going to do this one as a half hour so that the second half an hour can be used for people to take advantage of the free gift that Francesca is offering our listeners. And what that is she's going to offer you, if you take advantage of this, a free coaching session with her. And so through that, a lot of the questions I ask are really specific to the person. Mm-hmm. So since you set aside mentally this hour to listen to my podcast, we just use the first half hour here. I want to encourage you ready, set aside the time to use that other half hour to take advantage of this free coaching call with Francesca and get to know her. If you like anything that I do in my life, know Francesca was a part of that journey. And I want to invite you to have that same awesomeness and relationship in your life. And so the way to claim that is to go to tomearl.com/Francesca. That's tomearl.com/FRANCESCA. tomearl.com/Francesca. That's where you can get the show notes, where to log on to Francesca's program, and how to hit her up. And please, it's free. You already set aside the time. Do this for yourself. You will not regret it. In fact, you'll look back on it and say, I remember I was at a crossroads and I chose yes. And Francesca took me to where I needed to be. So please do that. Francesca, anything you want to add to sign us off?
I just want to say I am so honored to be part of what you're doing still. I'm one of your fans. I follow you. I'm always checking you out. So thank you so much for doing this.
The feeling's mutual, and it's just sharing back what you shared with me. So our final question is, the celebration is a place for leadership, inclusion, and expression. What is your definition of any, some, or all of those?
Inclusion. Tell me the words again.
Leadership, inclusion, and expression.
Expression, I think it's being. It's any form of being. For some people that is word.
Yeah.
For some people that's written word. For others it's a fashion statement. It's the way you dress. For others is absence.
Yeah.
So whether we call it boycotting or, any form of that, I think all of that is expression. So being true to who you are, and choosing that truth every moment, that's expression.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Francesca. It's been an honor to have you with us. Everybody head over to tomearl.com/Francesca. Take advantage of this amazing opportunity. And I just want to thank you and honor you for this time, for the amazingness that you've brought to myself and to the community of the celebration. You're absolutely amazing. Anything we can ever do, please let us know.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Thank you.
Blessings for you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
As always, everyone, we're wishing you peace and blessings.